victory versus SMU, a bit of a payback from earlier in the season when they lost in a shortened game. They play a 4-4-2, but it's going to adjust based on the personnel on the pitch, and so we'll see a number of players moving around, but we've got to highlight Brandon Morales, the graduate student from Cornell. He scored an absolute unbelievable goal versus SMU. It was the game winner. He missed an early one at the start of the match, hit off of the post, but he gets payback later on when he absolutely buries a volley that we're going to see here. A great service in by Kirk, and he's just going to volley that home.
And just a complete banger. That was his first goal since October 4th. A little bit of a dry spell there from him, but I mean, no better way to get back into the score sheet than with a shot like that. We'll head down to the sideline and check in with Hannah Brady. Hannah, how are you doing down there? It is a raucous crowd here at Transamerica Field.
Guys, after winning the American Conference Championship on Sunday for the first time, Charlotte had a quick turnaround to get their feet back on the ground and ready for NCAA play. When I spoke to Coach Langen about the preparation for tonight's matchup, he said that he didn't want his kids to be tired, leggy, or flat, and he's watched so many games where he's seen the teams just be overworked, so rest has been crucial for Charlotte this season, having both Monday and Tuesday off with just workouts. They resumed practice yesterday, so Charlotte should be well rested and ready to execute against the reigning Big South Conference Championship champions in the High Point Panthers, and though they're ready to dominate in all phases of the game today. And this is an even matchup with lots of action, so both teams are looking to keep their seasons alive here at Transamerica Field, guys.
Yeah, and for the 49ers, Sari, I mean, this is a team that comes in, they're 14th in the RPI. They've put together a really solid season, but what do they have to do today, tonight, to go home with the win?
Well, I think one of the things we want to see the 49ers do is make High Point uncomfortable. High Point likes to have the ball. They can score in a variety of ways, and so Coach Kevin Lagan really wants to make them uncomfortable. They like to play quick, and so the 49ers want to get the ball, break lines, and be quick in transition.
Yeah, and on the other side, what do the Big South champions have to do to leave Transamerica Field tonight and with the win?
Like I said, they like to have the ball at their feet. They have a number of players who are very technical and good 1v1. They want to try and find that ball between the lines and see if they can't drive forward. They also want to control the tempo. The 49ers are a very athletic squad, and they are extremely quick and can run in behind. And so the Panthers really want to control the tempo and control those spaces that the 49ers can get into.
Yeah, and Panthers head coach Zach Canes, reigning coach of the year in the Big South. This is a High Point team that picked up a lot of postseason honors. Jefferson Amaya, Offensive Player of the Year. The defender, Finn McRobb, the Defensive Player of the Year. On the other side, the 49ers, they had 2 named to the American All-First Team, 2 more named to the second team, and Natsuki Ogata was named All-Freshman Team by unanimous selection. As we are just moments away from the start of this NCAA tournament first round matchup between 2 North Carolina schools, the High Point Panthers and the Charlotte 49ers. 49ers in their green and white striped tops, with High Point in their all black jerseys to begin here tonight.
And you can see the big man, Brigham Larson. He has got the beanie on his head. I believe he's wearing that because he got stitches in that SMU game when he went in and had contact versus Cole Johnson. He knocked Cole Johnson. I think Johnson actually chipped his tooth, came to the sidelines bleeding, so it was an exciting and physical match.
Ball played to that far side. Kirk trying to get around 2 Panther defenders. The 49ers somehow hold on to the possession. A raucous crowd here at Transamerica Field. High Point, you mentioned it, just 60 miles away here from Transamerica Field. They brought their pep band. They brought a large student section. 49ers on the other side, they got the gold mine out here. They have their pep band. Probably the most raucous atmosphere we've had at Transamerica Field this season.
Oh, you absolutely love it, where you can just hear the crowd. They're going to get into every single big play, and I think this is going to be a physical match. I think it's going to be an exciting game to watch. As we mentioned, the Panthers have been hit with a bit of misfortune, as there's a number of players that got ill after the meal last night. You mentioned Carson Kendall, who usually plays as a right back, is out. He's replaced by Cooper Lindfelt, who usually will sub in for him. And then up top, you're missing the 6-year graduate student Alex Abril, and they've got Noah Holmes, number 24, who's wearing that captain armband up top.
Yeah, Noah Holmes, 3-time Big South Player of the Week this season. He was named the preseason Offensive Player of the Year, so not a bad backup to have coming off of your bench. He's a guy that scored 3 goals this season on 22 shots. Driven down the side, that's going to be a whistle on Nianjo. It's going to be a free kick for High Point early on in this one. As we take another look, kind of gets beat kind of easily. High Point gets to the ball, and
Nianjo kind of came around the side. I'm not sure if there was contact or not, but it definitely looked like that. And so the AR made the call there, but you see the redshirt freshman goalkeeper, Josh Karen, stepping up to take that.
Referees for tonight's game, Mike Stutt, Justin Howard, Joshua Belk, and William Steffen as the 4th official tonight. It's a throw-in to come here from Bo Yantz. High Point on the front foot here. This is a team came into tonight's game talking about how they needed to prepare for a physical battle. It's a 49ers squad that has been a very physical team this year. They really rely on their height. They rely on their strength as a team. You see it there with Larson clearing it away. He's kind of been a key figure on that back line for Charlotte this season.
And Coach Langen will go to the bench, especially around that 20-minute mark, 25-minute mark, and then again with maybe 15 minutes left. He likes to get players out there, and he really runs at teams, wears them down. So much athleticism. Yeah,
Hannah Brady mentioned it in the pregame sideline hit, but they didn't. Yesterday was their first day of practice since that SMU win. It's a team with Kevin Lang where he normally likes to really have the guys going, high stamina, high fitness. So I was kind of surprised that he said that he gave them off that much time ahead of this NCAA tournament game.
Well, he talked about the fact that he was watching teams late in the season that just looked a little sluggish, and he realized that he didn't want to just drive them down. He wanted to make sure his team could be as fresh as possible, and so they did. They've really been adjusting that training each week and trying to taper the amount of work that those players are putting in because he wants them fresh. He said they are at the perfect place right now for this NCAA match. They are healthy, they are rested, and they feel like they are really firing on all cylinders.
He said a key phrase, eyes on the prize. They're not coming in with revenge or anything. They don't want to get kind of vengeance for their last time in the NCAA tournament. It was a quick exit. They've put that out of their mind and are really just coming together as a team and trying to focus on that next step, that next thing to do. And really, that was kind of the same thing that came from Zach Haynes, the head coach for High Point as well.
And a little bit of a different approach, right? The Big South, their final is actually on Saturday, so they had Sunday off, and then they've been practicing all week, whereas Coach Langen had those couple of days off. So 2 different approaches here.
As Brigham Larson plays it in just a little too far ahead for Nianjo. He's going to get to it before it goes out the back line, and opportunity to set his offense up. Sends it back to Fofana, who's going to try and push it into the box. Finds the big body of Brigham Larson. Matthew Kirk comes out of the scrum with the ball. Samy Kolby taking on the defender, rips that, but easy stop there for Josh Karen. Josh Karen, a redshirt freshman from Palm Harbor, Florida, kind of stepped in mid-season and has not relinquished that job, similar to what happened on the 49ers side with Leo Stritter. Karen has been a big-time GK1 for the Panthers.
And remember, he's a redshirt freshman, so last year he did get to train with the team all year long. It was a great season for High Point last year, making it all the way to that second round of the NCAA tournament. So he has that experience, and like Coach Haynes said, he's got 2 terrific goalkeepers. They just were having some issues mid-season and were really letting up some goals. And it wasn't even so much the goalkeeper, it was just they weren't as organized. And so Kieran came in and he felt like he gave a calming presence. He felt like he was able to help communicate with that back line. Some of those things that you just can't place a number on, right? He has those things that help to organize the team and get them to really be able to press teams differently and make sure that they're marked. So communication is key.
Yeah, since coming in, since taking over that starting goalkeeper spot, he leads the Big South in goals against and save percentage. He has a 789 save percentage, and he's allowing just under 1 goal per start. Really solid stuff from the redshirt freshman.
And it's a great place to be in for Coach Haynes, having 2 quality keepers. And the word I was looking for was intangibles. He's got some of those intangibles
That's what I thought it was.
that set him apart.
Goes out of bounds. High Point thought it was their ball, but referee saw something different, so it's going to be a throw-in to be taken by Abubakar Fofana. Fofana is making his 10th start of the season after not playing in a single game last year. Has really stepped up and been a big part of that back line for Charlotte. I'm with High Point there. I think that may have been off on Charlotte. That was looking for Morales. Falls down to Daniel Moore, just wide. Early chance for Daniel Moore.
And Daniel Moore is a player, he didn't get any accolades for Charlotte this year, but I really like him in that left back position. He likes to cheat forward. He likes to cheat into the center. You see him 20 yards out getting a shot. He's very, very good defensively, but he's also a player that can get and score goals. He's got 2 goals on the season, including a game winner versus South Florida.
A childhood friend with Jonathan Nyonjo as well. The 2 of them have known each other for years, and you can kind of see that chemistry when they're on the pitch together, that they've been playing, you know, since their Parks and Rec days, essentially.
And once again, a testament to the quality of the clubs here in North Carolina. You got Charlotte Soccer Academy, Charlotte Independence, NCFC. There's so many quality youth clubs here that develop players and put them at that D1 and even quality D2 programs.
And one of them, Jefferson Amaya for High Point, played his prep time at the Independence and using this game kind of as his homecoming. Has a bunch of family and friends in attendance, and it might be an opportunity for Amaya to kind of show off for Kevin Langen's coaching staff a little bit. I mean, it's a team, seems like he wanted to stay close to home. Picking High Point may feel a little slighted and may not necessarily going to Charlotte, or picked High Point because they provided a better opportunity for him. They have more wins, and kind of a back and forth there between the 2 of them.
Well, and both of these coaching staffs are quality, and both of them are involved in the clubs in their area, and so you can see them bringing in players from the state to develop their programs.
Ball rattles around. High Point comes out with possession. Kirk with an aggressive challenge, and it brings out a whistle, and the High Point fans are loving it, as it's going to be a free kick from a dangerous spot for the Panthers.
And that's something, both of these teams are so good at free kicks, but High Point really prides themselves on it, and we should see Jefferson Amaya stepping up here to take it. And one of the players that we're going to look for, he's got the captain's armband on well, is going to be Finn McRobb, number 6. As a center back, McRobb has 5 goals on the season, most of them coming from set pieces.
That's a big reason why McRobb was named Defensive Player of the Year as well in the Big South. A brick wall as a center back, and can push forward and be a massive piece of their attack. As Amaya will stand over the ball. He has 5 goals this season, 6 assists, both team leads. He'll see if he can get something going early on for the Panthers here. As this kick comes in, far post, swinging in to Stritter, who grabs that one with ease, and he'll punch that one away.
Yeah, I really looked to bend that ball, but just got too much on it, and that's an easy save for an experienced goalkeeper like Stritter.
High Point deciding to put that press on now. Ends up working out. Ball's going to go out. Flag up in favor of High Point, and I think it's going to be a question of how Charlotte will respond when they get pressed. How are they able to break it, if they're able to break it, because High Point is going to pick and choose their moments and try to take advantage of that.
And one of the things we're seeing High Point do is once they get the ball, can they switch that point of attack quickly and unbalance that Charlotte back line and defense? Charlotte is so compact at times that it's going to take a ton of ball movement to open up those seams for the Panther attack.
Ball goes all the way back to McRobb, and they're going to send it back to Karen as the 49ers will put a little bit of on-ball pressure on. Jefferson Amaya's play tonight is also going to be key in that, because what Zach Haynes was talking about was that he has one of the best deliveries in. He can break that press. So if they can find Amaya early on, and if he can just push it down and break off of that 49ers press, it'll give his forwards a ton of opportunities to go one-on-one with a defender, or even one-on-one with Stritter.
And that's what we talked about, the versatility of their attack. If they can play through the midfield, can they get it out wide? They've got Pinea or Ignacio who can serve a ball in. They can also play that long ball into Holmes, or hopefully we'll see Alex Abril feeling better maybe in the second half. But they have a variety of ways that they can score, and that's not unlike the 49ers, who also have diversity in their attack as well.
Ball played into the middle. Fofana tries to clear it out, goes right into the foot of Holmes. But Charlotte able to head it away, kind of playing hot potato around in the midfield, as that is skied right to Stritter.
And that's one of those awkward balls, right? It's so high up in the air. Usually you like to catch the ball above your head, but when it's high in the air at night, you're gonna let that drop down and make a clean, easy save. The last thing you want is to have any sort of mishap happen on what could be an easy play.
Press presenting some problems for the 49ers early on. Now an opportunity, flipping it over here to the near side, but just misplayed. Can't get that clean first touch on it. Pineda lets it go out of bounds. Is going to be 49ers ball. Fofana to throw it in.
And you can see that even early on, kicking that ball away. He can be a little bit of a hothead sometimes. It'll be interesting to see if they poke that bear and how he reacts. But he is just absolutely tremendous on the flank, loves taking players on, and he can serve a ball so well with his left and right foot. It's interesting, we knew that it was going to be a physical match from the Charlotte perspective. We knew that they were going to look to press at times and really be the aggressor, and I think we've seen High Point come out and be the aggressor in these first 14 minutes or so.
Something head coach Kevin Langen has talked about a lot this season with the 49ers is they kind of have their style of play. It's known when opponents are coming in. Charlotte's going to want to try and kind of impose their will. And so a lot of teams will kind of ditch what they've done for a majority of the season and then try to impose their own will and switch it up. And it's given the 49ers some issues throughout this season, especially early on in games. Talking about Kevin Langen, perfect catch there from him.
What an amazing coach. He was such a terrific associate head coach, and then to come in and have the success that he's had since taking over the program.
Season his 12th season at the helm. This is their 10th all-time NCAA tournament appearance. When you make it to the NCAA tournament at that high of a clip, you're doing something right as a coach. Tolley flicks it forward, but McRobb with ease will just clear it away, push it down, and Noah Holmes is going to give Ian Pilcher all he can handle. So we got a little bit of a track meet going on between the two sides, running back and forth. Ball ends up out of bounds. Kirk tries to take the throw in quickly, but will allow his green and white striped shirts come up forward.
And it'll be interesting to see if, as the game goes on, if the teams will get stretched and create those pockets, right? If Holmes is going to press, the rest of the team has to come with him, or else the 49ers are going to be able to pick apart those seams.
Pushes it forward, far side. Moore will beat it before it goes out of bounds. Trying to get around his defender. He slips and gets dispossessed.
And Kruger is so good with the ball at his feet. He's really been such an addition to this High Point team.
As that ball opens up, Pineda can't catch up to it. Lassie Larson cleaning up the mess after Abubakar Fofana kind of missed that entry pass, was trying to put a little something on it to disrupt it, but ends up getting beat by Pineda. Throw in here coming from Bo Jans.
And Jans has a long throw, not using it there, but both he and it's Alex Abril, who's out of the match, have a long throw.
Long throw is something, it's becoming more and more a thing where it seems like teams are rostering a player for their long throw abilities, because it just gives you almost like an extra set piece opportunity, one that you may not have had otherwise.
And when Abril's in the match, it's something that they work off of it. Anytime that ball is about 20 yards out, it's almost like having a corner kick, because he can get it in and into a dangerous spot in the box.
Totally seeing what he can do, gives it off to Morales near side. He's gonna push it in to Nyonjo. Has two Panthers. Tolley, a little give and go action. Cross gets deflected, goes out for a corner kick. First corner of the match for Charlotte. It's a 49ers team. Extremely, extremely lethal on these set pieces.
And I love the work that Leon Tolley does, right? Sometimes he doesn't get all the attention, although he was a first-team All-American Athletic Conference player. He does a ton of dirty work off of the ball to make things happen for this team.
Yeah, he's been a major transfer. You've seen the impact that Brandon Morales has had coming from Cornell. Leon Tolley, a transfer from St. John's, top midfielder in the conference, and Kevin Langen thinks one of the top midfielders in the country. As Matthew Kirk heads over to take this free kick. Corner comes in, headed just over the crossbar.
And Josh Caron, he's a 6-foot goalkeeper, but when you're in the mix with players that are 6'3", 6'4", it's tough to get on the end of it.
Nyonjo came flying in there. He knew he had that opportunity. Looked like to be essentially unmarked, but just couldn't get enough on that to send it down to bounce it in.
That's exactly right. He got up, was in a great position, but just couldn't get the power to get that down. And you can see him just dominant ahead over everybody else on that play there.
Offside flag is up, so a promising opportunity from High Point stopped for the time being, and 49ers put it back into play very quickly. Hard challenge, gets the whistle, gonna be blown on Seth Anchi.
And Anchi really sits in as like that double six in the midfield. He's another player that does tremendous work for High Point. First team, all Big South, a transfer coming in, but really has been tremendous for them.
Nyonjo tries to thread the needle. Larson, though, gets boxed out in the box, and it's going to be Caron with it now, and he'll let his players run forward, and we'll set up the attack. Gives it off to McRobb. Seeing some pressure, results in more taking possession away, gets it to the corner of the box, but he gets dispossessed, but not a clean clearance out of the Panthers.
And you gotta love that Linfeld recovers, right? He loses the ball, but he puts his head down and beelines back to disrupt that play, and that's what you want. You have to have immediate pressure on the ball, because these outside players for Charlotte are so dangerous in the attack.
Tolley looks like he may have gotten kind of hit in the back of his ankle. Coming up a little slowly.
It looks like just how he turned.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a non-contact, just got caught up in the turf there.
So Tolley and Kirk will stand over this free kick. You got the big body of Larson going to be running in the box. Ian Pilcher has scored a few of his goals so far this season from the set piece.
And Fofana is actually not being marked back there.
Headed around out that end line, goal kick. Yeah, Fofana stays unmarked on those. That's gonna be, he's not afraid to run in, get ahead to the ball and try to put it into the back of the net.
He's got 6 shots on the season. He's only got 1 assist, but they're definitely trying to bring up those players and get that height advantage. As we mentioned, both of these teams pride themselves on their ability to execute on set pieces. So it'll be a battle to see who will be able to impose themselves on the other team.
Nyandro tries to just push it past Bo Jans there, but Jans kind of gets his legs tangled with Nyandro, brings out the whistle and a free kick. Essentially the same spot, but on the other side of the pitch. Tolley and Kirk will stand over it. Kirk to take it. Looping away, headed straight out by that Panthers defense. Larson just dumps it back into the box.
And you can see Ignacio just so good on the ball, recognizes he doesn't have players forward, and that's where High Points, can they break out faster and catch the 49ers in transition? And that diving header was Jefferson Amaya, so once again does work on both sides of the ball for Coach Haynes.
High Point trying to funnel the offense right now through Pineda. Hard challenge by Larson. That's going to get a whistle each and every time. Not sure what the thought process was. That was kind of an aggressive one coming across.
But this is what Pineda likes to do. He likes to get the ball. If he's on the left side, he's going to penetrate, try and see if he can get a shot off on the right foot. And now it sets up another opportunity for Jefferson Amaya.
Yeah, coming into today's game, both coaches talked about how much they like their set piece deliveries. And already we have what? This is the 4th of the game. 2 for each squad, a huge opportunity for the Panthers. Leo Schroeder making sure his wall's set up. Amaya to take it. Put it in right off the wall, bounces around, and she lets it rip. Deflected by Nyandro. Fofana deflects it. And High Point will send it all the way back to their back line, and the press is on from the 49ers.
And once again, you're seeing a variety of services, right? The first time he tried to loft that in over the top. That time he was trying to slip it through the middle. It'll be interesting to see if maybe we see a short play get thrown in there, especially it's NCAA tournament time. You get a little bit of your trick plays coming out. Try to show something different.
Ball goes out of bounds. Throw in for High Point on that far side.
Well, it has been a high-paced first 24 minutes, and I think we've really seen the level and the athleticism coming out. Both teams running and gunning a bit.
Yeah, it's been a track meet to start. Both teams, it seems like, trying to break the opponent's press by just pushing it as far down as they can. High Point especially trying to just play those deep services in and essentially trying to find Pineda, as they do again here near side. Larson in a foot race, gets it out, goes out. It's going to be a goal kick for Charlotte. A great defensive play by Lassie Larson. He slides in and gets that just to ricochet off of Tony Pineda.
That actually looked like it did go off of Larson. You know, sometimes Pineda can be a little bit dramatic, right? He likes to sell it, but that time I think he was right on the call. And the reality is that Charlotte is okay not having the ball in possession, because they do know that they can get the ball and they can quickly transition, and they have the runners to get in behind, and so they're comfortable winning a ball and playing direct. And I think they're even comfortable not having the ball as much as their opponent.
I mean, it's a Charlotte team that has really been anchored this season by the exceptional play of Leo Schutter and their back line, Ian Pilcher, Lassie Larson especially. So if they kind of have to rely on them, they're not worried if they're kind of taking the brunt of it for the start of the match. About as deep as you can go into the corner, as we have a substitute waiting to come on for the 49ers. So they're going to bring Brad Dildy on at about the 20-minute mark to go in the first half. Brad Dildy is checking in for Matthew Kirk. So a little offense for defense switch here.
Well, and we talked about how the formations can change based on the player personalities out there. And Dildy is a left-footed player. He likes to play on the left side. We see Kirk more in the middle, who likes to get into the attack and becomes kind of that second forward sometimes for them in the attack. So we'll see Dildy, another player who can be tremendous for them. He's got a goal and 3 assists on the season. Had the game winner versus Davidson, so he can also get into the attack.
Ball ends up getting cleared out to Daniel Moore. He'll try to push it forward to Dildy, but Moore and Dildy not on the same page. Ends up coming out to High Point. And Pilcher, just a little reckless going in there, is going to take out Noah Holmes. A free kick for High Point.
And another big foul there. We've yet to see a card thrown. It'll be interesting how these fouls accumulate and if we're going to see more of cards getting thrown in the second half. But we knew it was going to be an aggressive match.
Yeah, Charlotte's coming off of a match against SMU. It was that 2-1 winner in the American Championship game. 8 yellows. So a bit of a chippy game, a little bit of a physical game last time out for the 49ers. High Point on the other side, they're coming off of an extremely emotional Big South Championship win where they took it 4-3 in PKs against UNC Asheville. An intense game between the two, and that's how both of them punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament as Nyanjo tried to get it past the defender, instead goes right to Anchi. And you mentioned it, a card may have been coming, and looks like that one's gonna be hit on Jonathan Nyanjo.
And you have to be honest that this is a match where you know it's going to be physical, and you've got to let it all go, right? This is a win and advance, lose, and your season's over. So you don't want players holding back, but that was a little bit of a late step in there, and you got to be mindful of that.
Yeah, kind of an uncharacteristic play from Nyanjo, the senior. Normally a little bit more kind of experience, knows how not to do that.
He's usually a very composed player, and like you said, he brings such leadership to this 49er squad.
Now he's gonna have to just play maybe a different style of soccer. You have a whole lot of soccer left to play, and you can't get that second yellow and be sent off and put your team a man down. Crossed into the box, no one was there. Fofana can't win it. Crossed into the middle, eventually cleared out by Kolby. That was a huge opportunity for High Point.
And Jans with a great service in on that second ball, but it looked like Holmes was just trying to bring it down and couldn't get his body into a good position and just popped it off of his chest.
McRobb gives it off to Amaya. Hard run in. Holmes can't cleanly get it. No whistle blown. Hard challenge there by Anchi, and that's going to get a whistle. And the referee is going to have a conversation with Seth Anchi. The transfer in from Dayton has been fantastic this season for High Point. No card assessed. and it'll be a free kick for the 49ers. Postseason soccer, it's always taken up a little bit of a notch.
And you just see, actually, it looked like he was trying to stop himself, put his hands on the back, and was just coming in too hard that he put Tolley over. But once again, I don't think there was malcontent on that.
I don't think any of them yet have been necessarily like malcontent, just playing really hard. Like you said, this could be your last game of the season, so you're gonna leave it all out on the pitch. You're gonna kind of take that extra step, try to run a little harder, and that's what we've been seeing so far.
It's great off screen. You can see the two substitutes waiting to come on for Charlotte are Natsuki Ogata, who's 5'8", and then of course you have Philip Yalk, who's 6'5".
The duality of a soccer player. Whistle blown. It's going to be the 12th foul of the match. Pilcher is going to switch the field, finds Nyanjo with not a single Panther near him. Drives it into the middle. Kolby holds up possession, gets it to Dildy on that far side. Crosses it in near post. Morales can't get there. Out of bounds goal kick for High Point. Oh, a four-man change coming in for Charlotte. Luke Husakowski coming in with Logan Frost, Philip Yalk, and Natsuki Ogata. Samy Kolby comes off. Brigham Larson comes off. Jonathan Nyanjo comes off, as does Brandon Morales.
And Coach Langen will really change his front six, especially as we mentioned that 20.
Letting the players play now. He said at the beginning of the season it felt like they had square pegs trying to put them in round holes, and then since that halfway point in the season, they've kind of let the players play their game. They've changed their formations. They've let it go to the players, let them play their style of soccer, and since then I think we've seen the best 49ers team of the season, evidenced by a 7-1 record over their last 8.
And once again, you talk about their formation, but it is really fluid, and they let the players play to their strengths, and I think that's what we see, right? Brigham Larson's a player that likes to play back to pressure. He's going to win the ball, try and connect with others, or he's going to try and get on the end of a service. You get a substitute like Natsuki Ogata, who likes to run at players and get forward into the attack, and so they just have a variety of weapons up top that they can use.
Dildy puts it into the box, headed right out, but Daniel Moore will be able to catch up with it.
And the big thing that we want to see from High Point is number 17, fifth-year student, Alex Abril. He was sick in the first half, but he's pulled it together, and now he's on the pitch for them, and he is a dynamic front runner.
Yeah, Alex Abril not afraid to shoot. He leads the team with 38 shots this season. The graduate student, he came back for his 5th year, his COVID year last year, injured early in the season, missed the entire season, and decided to come back for his 6th year to try and propel his High Point team to another NCAA tournament run. So for him not to start must have been terrible, but great to see him kind of pull it together, figure it out, and get back on the pitch for the final 45. And
he's somebody who can get in behind defenses. He likes to run onto balls. He's also very technical and cheeky around the box.
That pass had eyes for a streaking Panther, but Stritter will get to it just in time. It looked like they were targeting Alex Abril.
We have not seen Carson Kendall tonight. He is usually a player that plays as the right back, but he is also sick. Coach Haynes was also very complimentary of him and just how he is one of their best 1v1 defenders, and so not having him in the match has caused the Panthers to have to make some adjustments.
Nyanjo tries to drive it in, comes out to Daniel Moore at the top of the box. tries to dribble it around, gives it off to Samy Kolby, who tries to put something on net, but it's deflected by McRobb, cleared out for the time being. And Pineda gonna try and chase it down on the far side. That first touch just goes out off of a 49er, so a throw-in for the Panthers.
And Kolby kind of forced that, I felt like. He had Dildy out wide. It was one of those things. Dildy on the left foot with space can be very dangerous. So once again, maybe playing that out wide could have been the better option, but it's always easy to be an armchair quarterback, and hindsight's 2020. If I can throw in another cliche, I will.
We'll keep track. Down on that far side, Ignacio gives it off to Linfelt. Back to Ignacio. Trying to go into the box, but it finds the head of Brad Dildy. High Point will have to send it all the way back to Josh Karen, their redshirt freshman keeper. Pushed far side, has some green grass, crossed into the box. Opportunity for High Point, but they just can't corral it. Off that end line, a goal kick for Leo Stritter.
And this is going to be a terrific ball by Kruger. Bending ball outside of the foot. It's played across, and Moore tries to clear it, and he can't. And that's Kaya Ignacio just unable to control it. He'd like to have that one back. But you can see Kruger, right? The ability to play that ball with the outside of the foot, bends it in so it can get run onto. Having him in the midfield with a Brill up top, I think will be a little bit of a difference maker.
And something that was interesting in the first half, it looked like they were playing Jefferson Amaya with the absence of Carson Kendall more on that back line, having him help out the defense, I think, a little more than what he necessarily does. With that Kendall absence, will be interesting to see kind of how he slots in this second half.
And he does have a tendency to sort of drop into that line and add support. And as you mentioned, he is a six that will get into the attack, but he's very good about getting the ball off of the back line and then trying to play forward and distribute.
Moore right here in front of the 49ers bench. We'll throw it in. And Dildy's pass just a little errant. Cooper Linfelt will get possession back for Charlotte, excuse me, for High Point. Pushing forward. Panthers trying to break through that 49ers defensive wall, but Charlotte seemingly having 7 guys back at all times. Linfelt finds an open man, bounces around. Ignacio trying to find a Brill, but the ball comes all the way out off of a High Point player. No, off of Brigham Larson. It's a Panthers throw-in.
Got to give a shout out to Cooper Linfelt's mustache. One of the most fabulous mustaches out on the pitch tonight.
Yeah, I wonder if he's partaking in No Shave November, letting everything else come in with that mustache, or if he's keeping it solo. Out of bounds, a throw in the final third for Charlotte on that far side. Coming up to take it is going to be Abubakar Fofana. Fofana, the transfer in from NC Wesleyan. Didn't play last season, but now a kind of a key piece on that back line. Him and Nick Scott have rotated on the left side. He's kind of taken control over of that position as ball finds its way out. Whistle blown, and it's a foul called there. So game's 17th foul, first of the second half.
Pace has settled down a bit, or at least there's a little more lulls in the opening 8 or so minutes here than there were in the first 8 minutes of this match, which was just very quick back and forth.
Does that play into Charlotte's advantage at this point, or do you think High Point kind of gets with that?
Well, I think High Point wanted to control the tempo, and they did. They didn't want it to kind of get into a foot race and be too much of just based on like a run and gun. And it's a little bit of a shoulder there on Larson first, but Vyman's going to get the call against him. And when we look at this on the replay, you're going to see Larson does a good job of initiating contact, right? He's coming in, but he actually pushes into Vyman. Once again, call goes against him, but you do like to see a big target player not afraid of contact.
Yeah, Larson essentially plays through contact a lot of the time. He's not afraid to put his back to it and play through it. His High Point.
His headgear will show.
Took a hard hit to the head against SMU.
Talked about the success of both of these programs over the year under their head coaches. You know, with Charlotte playing in the American Conference, there's 4 teams from the American Conference in this NCAA tournament. FIU is currently up 1-0 on Mercer. Of course, SMU getting the first round bye, but a very, very competitive conference. Amazing how even FAU upset FIU earlier in the season, and so terrific soccer on that part. And then the Big South having some teams bubble up this year. UNC Asheville under Mick Giordano making it to the conference finals of the Big South and giving High Point a good run, going to PKs.
Daniel Moore's cross into the box. Looked like High Point tried to clear it out, just missed it entirely, but Karen, right place, right time to scoop it up as we look at that one more time.
That ball gets served in, and once again, because it skips off of Vyman, it's not considered a pass back. Heads up play there by Karen.
Early sub here for High Point, as Anthony Ramirez will be coming on for Kaya Ignacio. Unlike the first half, in the second half, Ignacio can return. In the first half, if you are subbed off, you cannot return, but in the second half, you can check back in.
And as you said, Ramirez is really just a gifted player on the ball. He's becoming more and more well-rounded, and Coach Haynes said he has such a bright future, but he is a player who comes and gives Ignacio a respite, does better coming off of the bench than starting.
So Morales gets this one going, gets tripped up from the back, but all ball, no foul called. Great no call there, as that was, I mean, a dangerous challenge, but executed perfectly. That may have helped High Point keep this one as just a 1-goal deficit.
And as you pointed out, it's really interesting how Amaya drops back in there, almost to keep an eye on Larson, but it does take away a player in the attack.
That's drilled right into Stritter's chest. He's coming off of a season-high 6 saves against SMU. You always talk about big-time players making big-time plays and big-time moments. Leo Stritter did that in the American Athletic Conference tournament final, and coming up big with a save there for Stritter. He was second in the American with 5 shutouts this season, second in the conference as well in goals against, second in save percentage. As Tolley now getting something going for this 49ers attack. Nyonjo, far side, drives it past his defender into the box, but what a stop by Josh Karen.
And he just made that look easy with that acceleration, getting past the defender there, and then was trying to pick out Morales, but Karen does a good job of coming out on it.
Now High Point going back to what they did a lot in the first half. Dump it into these corners and trying to let their attack materialize from the outside in. Good job by Daniel Moore and Dildy to get the ball back for the 49ers.
And I was talking about the 4 American conference teams that were in the NCAA tournament. I didn't get to Memphis. Memphis is up 1-0 in the first half over Southern Illinois Edwardsville, which is the only undefeated team left in the country. They were 16-0-3. Only team not to lose this season, and they find themselves down a goal to Memphis. So the American Athletic Conference doing well opening night.
Morales has it right outside the 18-yard box. Trying to find Neonjo. Clearance was trying to get it out of bounds, but ends up going to Kolby, and 49ers will hold possession, elect to send it back to their own half, and let their offense reset. Anchi comes down with it. High Point will send it back to their back line, where Veman will get things going. Over to McRobb. We were talking with Zach Haynes about this kind of attack. They have 11 goal scorers this season. They've gotten production from every single level. They've had forwards who've scored goals, midfielders, defenders. They've had 11 goals come from their forward position, 7 from the defensive side, and they've had 10 goals from their midfield. Massive for this High Point team. Tolley gets the interception, leaves it for Morales, who's gonna find Larson on that far side. Gives it off to Neonjo, drives it to the top of the box. Ricocheted around, and Karen will punch it away down to Neonjo, cleared out for the time being.
And I think that's actually a great decision, right? He knew he was coming up. He knew he was going to get contact. Not sure if you're going to be able to hang on to it with that pressure, and so you punch it up and away. A good decision by the young keeper there.
Morales gives it off to Moore. Crossed in, Neonjo heads it down. Rolls all the way right to the line, but scooped up by Karen.
You talked about the goal scorers for High Point, but Charlotte, 12 different goal scorers, 8 different players with game winners.
See Josh Karen there, led the Big South, 30 saves this season. He only allowed 8 goals. Second team all Big South selection, all freshman team in the Big South. One of the top goals against at just .73, and has a .789 save percentage. Also both best in the Big South.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Karen is 13th in the nation in goals against average, and Stritter is 22nd in the nation.
Driven into the middle of the box. High Point just high. So we see that one more time. I mean, High Point putting the pressure on Charlotte right now.
Subbing in for High Point, number 9, Kaya Ignacio for number 8.
Checking in for Charlotte, Matthew Kirk. He came out around the 25-minute mark in that first half, comes on with about 29 minutes to go in the second half. Referee motions to stop the clock and is coming to chat with Ian Pilcher. Brendan Kruger comes off, Kaya Ignacio comes on. It's the High Point fans in attendance coming alive here, trying to will their team to an equalizer in the second half. High Point on ball. Crossed in, and Stritter will scoop it up with ease. Headed right out. It's going to be a throw-in for Charlotte, as Nick Scott will be checking in for Abubakar Fofana with 28 minutes to go in the second half. Nick Scott, an experienced defender for Charlotte. He made 11 starts last year, his 15th appearance on the season.
And I absolutely love how Tolley gets the ball. He faces up and he looks to dribble and break lines on the dribble. And just gets caught up there. And that's Ramirez.
Moore had a good cross into the box, was looking for the bandaged head of Brigham Larson, but can't fully connect, so goes out for a goal kick for the High Point Panthers. Pilcher will sky it a mile high, trying to get it down to Larson. And a beautiful ball forward by Nyonjo to find Nick Scott on that far side. Put into the box, looking for number 14, but heads it right on in to Josh Karen.
When you've got a target like Larson up top, it's just unbelievable to have, right? You can play that in, and he's going against Ben Vyman, who's another kid who's 6'4", so it is a great matchup there, but wasn't able to get much on it.
And Vyman has really injected a lot of life into that back line for High Point. He missed about the first 2/3 of the season, has come back and has been massive, the transfer from Lake Erie College.
He comes in and brings a level of professionalism, and when I was talking to Coach Haynes, I said, what has it meant to get Vyman and Kruger back in? Because Kruger was another player that was out early on in the season, missed a whole month of play. And he says it does, it just shores us up down the line. We're able to possess the ball. We're more composed on the ball, and so once again, I mean, I can't say it enough. You don't want to have excuses, but High Point was playing so well coming into this match. They were healthy for the most part, and to have the unfortunate or misfortune of having a number of players go ill, you just hate that they're having to make those adjustments last minute and deal with that.
Yeah, Kendall's part of a back line that since the start of October is allowing just 0.6 goals per game. They had really found their stride as of late. High Point pushing forward, puts it into the box, but Ian Pilcher, right place, right time for the center back, disrupts the pass enough. High Point holds on to possession though, brings it here to the near side, and see if they can find an opening on this Charlotte back line.
And Charlotte is so compact and organized, touch tight on the marks in the box, really making it difficult for High Point to find an opening.
Played into the middle for Amaya. Hard tackle by Kolby. He gets all ball. Kirk's going the other way, dribbling it in, leaves it off for Larson. Saved by Karen. A potentially game-saving save from Josh Karen.
And I just wanted to let the crowd be heard because they absolutely loved it. Man comes up huge for High Point right there. Fantastic save on the break. Not only does he get the first save, but then he's able to hop and make the second save and hold it, and that's even better.
Tolley heads it around and comes back to Moore, who will try to clear it. Ricochets off of a Panther. And all of a sudden, Daniel Moore is kind of in a sticky situation.
He's a little nonchalant there and found himself under pressure. And that's going to be a no call against Vyman. I think Larson was hoping for it, but
Kevin Langen not happy with that call, kind of beside himself on the sideline.
There's a little bit of a push off there by Vyman.
Good turn, hard challenge, all ball called, so no whistle. Referee's doing a great job of kind of not letting the contact fool him and really seeing if the ball was hit first and how the challenge was initiated. So that's going to get a whistle. Matthew Kirk not a fan of it, but Jefferson Amaya goes down, and the heady play from the sophomore.
And he just crumbled like a rag doll on that. Once again, I definitely think he got hit, but he played it well, and now...
And Kirk gets hit with a yellow card. I'm not so sure it's Kirk what he did to Amaya, but maybe things he said after the play, because he wasn't very happy with that call, and the Irishman, kind of like Panetta, a little bit hot sometimes.
A little fired up right now. So you can see the foul. He comes in, and he does come in a little bit late, and definitely clipped the ankle and the back of that calf there, and sent Amaya crumbling down.
Played to the middle of the box. High Point can't get a clean touch on it. So for the time being, they'll play some hot potato in the midfield. $20 fouls called in this game, 2 yellows hit to the 49ers. 2 of their more important players too. And Nyonjo and Kirk kind of having to be mindful of that with about 22 minutes to go in this second half. 3 subs coming on for the 49ers. Logan Frost coming on from Philip Yauk and Luke Husikowski. Morales, Leon Tolley, and Brigham Larson coming out for the 49ers. And Noah Holmes will check in for Alex Abril.
Well, it'll be interesting in these next 21 minutes what adjustments we see from Coach Haynes. His team can play a variety of formations. We've seen him in that 4-2-3-1. We've seen him in a 3-5-2 when they've been down.
As Daniel Moore drives it into the box, lets that one rip. And Karen will scoop it up. Excuse me, Jonathan Nyonjo here on the near side. He's flipped from the far side here to the near side as Kirk goes down.
And we saw that switch versus SMU as well. Depending on how he's feeling, he'll play on either side. Just didn't get a lot on that, and that's actually an easy save, even though he had to go to the ground for it for Karen. And I was talking about the adjustments for the Panthers, but you can see these adjustments by Coach Langen as well. Nyonjo coming to the left.
Ball bouncing around, ends up finding its way to the foot of a Panther. And she gives it off to Ignacio, who elects to send it all the way back to McRobb. Vyman pushing it forward, was trying to find a Panther, trying to break through that back line, but Nyonjo gets a foot to it, out of bounds. Throw in for the Panthers. Sub 20 minutes in the second half. High Point looking for that equalizer as they are probing against the 49ers defensive back line. Frost breaks through, nearly comes away with a breakaway, but instead High Point gets the ball back and starts to go to work on that far side. Noah Holmes pushes it through, but Pilcher beats him to the ball.
He was looking to try and find Ignacio, that quick turn by Holmes, but couldn't get it in.
And with with some 49ers pressing, and she elects to send it back to Karen and let them reset. But the press right now giving High Point some issues. Offside called on High Point there. Kevin Langen not happy with something, and he's letting the referees know about it. I'm not sure what he's discussing as the referee is going to stop the clock.
And so Holmes appeared to be behind Pilcher, and so not sure what was going on, but I know that
High Point took a free kick from right in front of their own bench.
I think there was a late hit on Cooper Lindfelt, and they just held the call.
It was an offside called on Charlotte way before the play materialized going the other way.
And a lot of times referees will hold the call to see if something develops. That could have been what happened there.
As breaking down that far side, opportunity for High Point. Going 1v1 against Nick Scott, putting him in the spin cycle. Elects to send it back to McRobb, and a foul's called on Nick Scott. He does not understand why besides himself. There's some pushing and shoving going on that far side. If I was a lip reader, I could figure that out well. Kevin Langen still arguing a point. As Jefferson Amaya, the most dangerous set piece player on the field right now, will step up over this ball and look to.
And it looks like Pineda maybe sold that hand in the back, was able to get the foul there. Once again, it's okay to put your hand on somebody. It's not okay to push them over. And so he drew the call there, and this is a terrific opportunity now for the Panthers.
Amaya leads the team with 6 assists this season. He has 5 goals to go along with that. Has the second most points in the Big South, and an opportunity, the NCAA tournament first round, but Leon Tolley is getting ready to be checked into this match.
And now there is a conversation being had with Ralph Paulson, who's the NCAA site rep here. And so the clock is stopped. I think they were actually adding back time, it looks like, from when the official had stopped the play. High Point has everybody forward right now.
Ball comes in, headed right away as it comes to Lindfelt. Pushes it into the box, headed around, cleared out. Lindfelt headed it back in, drops down behind the 49ers back line, right into the middle of the box, ripped, ricocheted, just high.
And you can see the composure all the way up until that final pass to the freshman Anthony Ramirez. Great ability there. McRobb tries to hit it, and Ramirez just leaning back, unable to put that on frame. And Charlotte 49ers are able to walk away unscathed there, as it was a tumultuous few moments in front of the goal.